Mr. Chairman, how many hours does the governor have?
5 minutes.
Okay. Only. His Royal Majesty, Dr. Alfred Tokura, ably represented by the President General of Nzotiv, Engineer Chief Ujege, the great leader of my party, APC, Senator Dr. George Igbegbe Akume, ably represented by Professor Amengigo, the distinguished senator from my own zone, Zone A, Senator Dr. Barnabas Gamade, His Excellency, the Right Honorable Gabriel Towu-Osuswam, the immediate past governor of Benue State, ably represented by Dr. Cletus Akwaya, our Venerable Chief Elder, the one and only General Atongpera, Honorable Iwasehembe, who is representing the rest of our lawmakers in Nigeria from Benue, the distinguished state senator from Georgia, our very own Donzella James, our MUTA president, Chief Henry Mgerem, and his entire MUTA Exco, the chairman of this occasion, Professor James Gire, our father, Chief, doesn't like to be called Chief, Wantare Polonongo, ably represented by Pastor Peter Ichu, my distinguished brothers and sisters, all other protocols duly observed, I stand here to represent the people's governor, since he wants everything to reflect his own basic philosophy about governance and why he took over office, to be people-oriented, so we call him the people's governor, and he has also rechristened Government House to be called the People's House. So we do not refer to Government House in Benue as Government House, but the People's House. I'm not speaking on my behalf as Professor Steve Ugba, but on behalf of the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom. He has also told us that he wishes not to be addressed as Chief Doctor Samuel Otom, but simply as Samuel Otom, the executive governor of Benue State. The takeoff of our administration was quite interesting because we struggled for change and we got the change that the people of Benue and the people of Nigeria wanted. In Benue, my mantra has always been to govern with the fear of God. And I believe that God has so blessed us and blessed me and blessed my administration to the extent that we have placed God before everything that we do. And perhaps that is why God, in his infinite wisdom, also elevated us to this position at this time. So what we promise the people of Benue is that we will govern with the fear of God in mind, and not to govern with impunity, which is what the Benue people rejected, and which is what we hope will enable us to create the enabling environment for our state to take off. There are a few things that I must bring to your attention, because some people may feel that the administration is not moving fast enough, that we probably don't have solid plans to move the state forward. But I want to emphasize here and to touch on just some very few issues about this, our current administration of the Benson Abonu, as a solid partner in governing Benue State. When we took over office, there was need for us to sit down and examine the structure of government in light of our economic situation, both in the state and nationwide, and decide on what structure will enable us to deliver the dividends of democracy and also to deliver on our campaign promises for change in Benue. Consequently, our administration decided to prune down the number of ministries from 17 to 13, and also to prune down the number of senior special advisors from 28 or thereabouts to 18. And this was not only designed as a means of saving costs, but also a means of introducing efficiency in governance, so we can actually deliver the goods that we promised. We also instituted a transition committee that was supposed to have started work before the handover, which took place on May the 29th. But because of some issues, the transition committee could not complete its work. But the transition committee is actively working and has almost completed its work in terms of reviewing the handover notes that were given to my administration by the previous administration. It has been a very tedious process in trying to understand the status of our state as we try to move forward. The theme of MUTA 2015 is the Tiv Nation, the way forward. But I'm here representing all of Benue, and not just the Tiv Nation. But the things that I talk about on a general state level also apply to the Tiv Nation. There is a need for the Tiv Nation also to sit down and do some reassessment of the structure of the Tiv Nation and what it is that the Tiv Nation has to do to enable it move forward as a people. So the transition committee is working very hard, and hopefully I should receive their report sometime this week, and the contents of the report I will make known to the public so that they know what it is we inherited as a government. The issue of corruption in the system at the state level and also at the national level has been a persistent problem in our governance structure in the country that has hampered some of the things that we have tried to do as a nation and also as a state. President Buhari is leading the effort in trying to maintain the momentum of his reputation as a very frugal no nonsense, zero tolerance for corruption person. That is what he was known for. And that is what he's leading now. And that is the effort that we are also leading in Benue. Zero tolerance for corruption. Because of that, my administration has set up some committees already waiting for when the transition committee completes its report and for them to now start the process, particularly in areas where there is a need for Benue State to recover some assets. Benue is determined that any public official that abuses his or her power in terms of robbing the state of valuable assets designed to bring succor to the suffering masses of the state, that my administration will recover those resources. The issue of insecurity in the state is regrettable, stemming from the Fulani herdsmen problem and also youth restiveness that is causing lots and lots of problems for us in the state, and the residual effect of some of the strategies that politicians especially used in trying to perpetuate themselves in power by arming our youth. The youth are ravaging. Aga, there is palpable fear in parts of Benue. And our administration is determined to bring peace to Benue State and to contribute to bringing peace to Nigeria at large. So what specific programs has our administration at the moment instituted in an effort to try and curb the spate or the spat of insecurity in the state? We have announced an amnesty program for people who own illegal weapons, a buyback program, which has started yielding some results. So contrary to what people may feel, we have youth who are voluntarily turning in assault weapons and other weapons that they've been using to terrorize people in various parts of the state. And this amnesty program will continue. It has a deadline. But if you know of any youth or your brothers or your sisters back home who have these illegal arms, please beg them to turn them in. Because at the end of the amnesty program, my government will go after these elements ruthlessly to help recover those arms so we can bring peace to Benue State. Not only that, our administration just convened a security summit with lawmakers and some other stakeholders in an attempt at trying to get a good handle on our security challenges and to devise ways of sustaining the peace efforts and also sustain our security strategy in the state. The results of which all of you will be told in due course. So bear with us. As some of you may also have heard or have read on the social media, we have been discussing with some known elements that some would term as terrorists or terrorizing the state. Particularly one element called Ghana in the Sankara zone, who is now in active discussions with this administration so he can lay down his arms, encourage the people who work with him to also lay down their arms so that peace will reign in Benue. That is what this administration has been doing since we came into power on May 29th, 2015. This is part of that reconciliation effort that some people misunderstood as this administration simply going to devote 100 days of its life to reconciliation. It's only a little part of what it is this administration wants to do and will do. So I wanted to mention that as well. There are certain burning issues in the state as well that this administration is grappling with, and some of these issues are not issues or challenges that were made by this administration, but these are issues that were statutory in nature, that this administration did not have any choice but to fulfill those statutory obligations. For instance, there is the burning issue of purchase of cars that has really troubled you as Benue citizens. But we have certain statutory obligations that perhaps do not need to be publicized. For instance, judges must be accommodated statutorily with clearly laid down requirements that also include the purchase of cars and other welfare packages for them. It may not make too much sense to the ordinary person, but it makes a lot of sense for those people who expect these packages because it's negotiated at a national level. So perhaps our government will do a better job of explaining to you citizens how some of these decisions are made and why some of these decisions are made. Salaries had not been paid for a few months before we took over government. We went out and secured bonds for the purposes of clearing the backlog in salaries, the backlog in pensions, the backlog in gratuities. These are all obligations that we inherited. These are all liabilities that we inherited from the previous administration. BSU had been on strike before the expiration of the tenure of the previous administration. That is our premier tertiary institution. But I'm happy to tell you that BSU, as of Monday, reopened its doors, and our students are now going to school. This is an effort that we have to sustain. We have not cleared all the necessary backlog or what it is they expected of us, but we're trying to do that. The issues that we're confronting as a government are quite daunting. But we believe that by the grace of God, that we will overcome these issues and set Benue on the right course for development. We are engaged right now in discussing with potential investors, actively discussing with them in terms of trying to shore up our economic base. For 2 months, we were looking for talent. We were looking for the people who will help my administration in governing the state. And I'm also glad to tell you that, yes, indeed, as I mentioned before, all the commissioners are in place, all the special advisors are in place, In fact, the commissioners and special advisors have already started work, and by God's grace, they will help us to deliver the goods under my leadership. Since the senator from Georgia, our senator from Georgia, is here, and she has also indicated a willingness to help us by partnering with us, I can assure her that this administration will extend that hand of fellowship to the senator and Georgia, as well as the United States, so we can work out areas of mutual benefits. We need you to help us develop Benue State. We know that Georgia is an agricultural state, just like Benue. Your own competitive advantages that you have, we can learn from you and position Benue perhaps as one of the greatest states in Nigeria. That is our vision. And to you, our Benue brothers and sisters in the diaspora, we also ask you to put all of our hands together, put our hands on deck to help us move our state forward. We value all of you. We value your contributions. And we want to assure you that nothing is too small in terms of a suggestion that this administration will listen to you, to both the good, the bad, and the ugly. This administration will not run away from criticism. I will not victimize anyone because he or she has criticized this administration. But please, in your criticisms, try and be constructive as well and offer solutions on how to move our state forward, just like how to move the TIV nation forward. I think it's much better that way. Muta deserves specific commendation for having survived the numerous challenges of an organization like this. Muta has done well, and I want to applaud Muta for a job well done. It is one of the most enduring organizations in Tivland, in Benue, and indeed in Nigeria. What you go through as an organization is no different from what other organizations go through. I'm glad that Muta has held itself together and continue to organize the annual Muta gatherings such as this one. And my administration pledges to continue to support Muta in any way, shape, or form, and also just like any other Benue organization, but to also send representatives to Muta conferences who will also interact with you, both formally and on an informal basis, so that collectively we can build the Benue of our vision. Long live Benue State. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live the United States. And long live the Mutual Union of TIV in America, MUTA. Thank you very much. And God bless you.